Today on the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast, Matt is going to do another instant take, instant cast, instant reaction, whatever you want to call them. I got to come up with a name, something piffy, something sweet. Anyway, let's talk about Werewolf by Night, everybody. Welcome to the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast. My name is Matthew Carroll, and that's enough being composed because what did I just watch? How was that in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? How did such a weird, throwback, interesting piece of media come directly from the Marvel Cinematic Universe? I feel like this thing is just more evidence of the fact that Marvel is letting their creators do weird stuff. And I know it's like a Halloween thing, and I know that it's like stylistically, similar to old movies, and they did such a good job with it. Like, it felt like an old movie. The editing style, the long sweeping shots, the slow pulls, the type of drama that was built. I felt so in from the very first moments of this thing. So guys, I really, really loved this special presentation. Marvel's first special presentation. Pew, 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 lasers. No, I just freaking loved it. I think it is really well done. Clearly, visionary creators who really wanted to do something interesting. But also, it built out the world. It starts by saying, this is the world we all know. This is what happens in the light. And it showed the Avengers at the beginning, and then it said, but what of the darkness? This is the introduction to the MCU of this entire world of monsters. And I could not be more excited. It's acknowledging, yeah, we haven't talked about this yet, but this is the thing that we're getting into. The characters. Jack. Found him interesting from the beginning, but honestly, I thought he was going to die. When they talked about him having 100 kills, and I didn't know, I don't think we knew his name yet, and I did not know the actor who was going to be playing Werewolf by Night, and I'm glad I didn't, because when they sent him into the maze first, I was like, he's a goner. Fully a goner. He's had the most kills in the room. They're going to send him in there just to show how badass the monster is. And we'd seen in trailers that Man-Thing was going to be in there, so I realized maybe a Man-Thing is the monster. I did not predict that he was going to be the werewolf. And man, oh man, did I love it. I love it so much. When he just starts realizing he's a protagonist, when you start realizing he's a protagonist, it just completely floored me. Because that's a horror movie trope. Sometimes they'll follow a character for the first 5 minutes of a thing, and you'll be like, oh, this is the main character. And then they kill them to give you that effect. And instead, it was they followed him in. He was our eyes into the world, at least until they introduced Elsa. And yeah, just super fun. And Elsa was great. Just classic tropes of pushing her. Her father was apparently this, monster hunter extraordinaire. But as we clearly see, monsters are not all evil. Ted and Jack are both, good guys. They're good guys. They're just trying to live. And these monster hunters are going around killing them all, trying to, I wish we'd gotten a little more of the ideology of the monster. They call them death dealers, I think, at one point, isn't that a Harry Potter thing? Am I wrong? That sounds like a Harry Potter thing. So these death dealers have killed all these monsters, and I'm sure they're I cannot wait for the breakdowns. Our channel and our podcast network is more about the discussions of the thing on the face of it, but I'm excited to watch some of the breakdowns of Easter eggs and what all that shit says in Latin on the walls. That stuff has got to be really interesting, and I think it's gonna reveal a lot about their ideology and who they are and what they're there for. She says they're there to give mercy to the monsters. Maybe because I can totally see some sort of logic where they're oh, the monster's lost, the lost souls. We're saving their souls by freeing them, but I don't know. I'm excited. I just feel like I've just dived into this other world. Not the MCU, and it is the MCU, and that's what makes it so exciting. It's the MCU, but it feels so separate and so apart from everything, but it doesn't feel like it couldn't fit. Those when they brought color back into it at the end, and they're sitting there having a conversation about getting sushi with Ted, you know, it just felt great. And Ted, what a wonderful creation Ted is. I know nothing about Man-Thing from comics. I don't know if his name is Ted in comics, but it's a very clever little device to give him the name Ted. It makes it very disarming, but he's horrifying. The things that he can do to those death dealers, and he when he grabs them and just disintegrates them, it looks like. And I loved it. I loved it. That's something I really want to talk about. The violence, the utter destruction and violence of this thing. Right? It's not Kid Glove's Marvel violence at all. This is, I will say, they did a clever thing. They made it very violent, blood on the screen, blood everywhere. Some pretty serious deaths with how Elsa killed people, just all around. She was running around. That one guy dropped and she just pulled the sword through his neck. That's pretty dark. Very violent. But it's clever because it's in black and white, blood is black. So it doesn't, I don't know what this means for Marvel. Part of me was watching some of those deaths. There was one death where she slashed through someone, blood went everywhere, and then she just buried the sword in the lady's head. The one that looked like David Bowie. You know the one I'm talking about. That character just got the sword right to the head. Maybe, even Thanos, when they killed Thanos, when he got his head cut off, was off screen, Yeah, I just think that they went further with violence. I can't think of a more violent thing in the MCU. Clearly, the Deadpool movies were more violent, and some of the Wolverine stuff was more violent, but that's not in the MCU. That's not Disney. So seeing Disney go this far into violence and horror, I was watching, I was like, I don't think I can show this to my niece. She's been watching all the stuff. She's going to be scared. She won't think she'll be scared because she likes Stranger Things and thinks that's the scariest thing there is. But it's scary. I was nervous. I felt like I was there. I felt very much in this world. I loved all of the death dealers. They all had their personalities. The one guy, big bearded man with the axe, who was so delighted to find the axe the second time. He trotted off dancing. I loved that he had this thick, I'm going to probably say the wrong accent because that's not my thing. I'm bad at everything. But, sorry, Jeff knows accents better. But it's Scottish, I think. Maybe Irish. I don't know. I get those two a little confused. I feel embarrassed. I maybe should cut this part, but I probably won't. He had this thick accent, and he's just talking to the guy about it's a lonely life. Just the talking about how it's lonely being a death dealer and being a hunter. It was very cool. And then you've got the David Bowie-esque character who just seemed very stoic throughout. She showed very little personality, really. But seemed ominous, seemed just everyone had these sort of traits that just made them just interesting enough to pull me through the story. I wanted to know more about all of them. But overall, it just was a vibe, man. I feel like I spent 50 minutes just in a totally different vibe from normal MCU content. And that's something to be said for that. I think I hope this is a sign for what the MCU is pushing towards, which is creators doing more of what they do, I am really impressed by this special. I cannot wait to hear. I'm actually not going to get to be on the episode they're going to record tonight, which is the full review. Jeff and Ashley are going to do one, which I don't think they've ever done one without me. And I'm excited because I don't have to edit it. But I really do hope that this is more evidence to the fact that Marvel and Disney are willing to let their creators be fully themselves and do something interesting. I think they've shown that lately with a lot of their content, that they're willing to be very different and very interesting. But this, I feel like, was a further departure from anything we've ever seen. No real connection. I mean, they showed the Avengers that the once, which is, I mean, that's a big connection to show that this is in the world you know. This is not Earth 535 or whatever. Like, this is Earth 616. We're showing you the Avengers. This is just secret. This is just a world you don't know about yet. And like the fact that Elsa, who just made friends with two monsters, just became the recipient of the Bloodstone, which is apparently who becomes the leader of the secret society of monster hunters. I don't know. Of course, a lot of them are dead. I don't know how big this society is. If these are just like the top hunters, or if there's like, this is all the hunters. I don't know. But it seems like she would be a little more pro-monster, as it were. So like maybe that is why we start to see a turn and the monsters start coming out of the woodwork, because there's not a secret society hunting them. Maybe, I don't know. That is rash speculation. I really think something's going on, though. The fact that Blade met up with the Black Knight at the end of Eternals, and then something's going on. There's going to be like a Avengers style team of dark heroes, for lack of a better term, and I am excited to see what that means. Like what is it? What it all means for the Marvel Universe, and will we see characters that we know and love interact with this sort of darkness, or will it all sort of be a separate sort of subculture within the MCU? And will that allow them to do darker things there? Will they put out some rated R content? Because I don't know if this sort of crossed the line to R. I feel like it could have, with some of those deaths were pretty violent, but the fact that it's black and white, I feel like gives you all kinds of leeway, because the kind of people who are rating this stuff are watching it and going like, oh, it's like an homage to an old film. Like, they're not watching it with the same eyes they might otherwise. So anyway, I'm nothing but impressed. I think there's so much good here. I can't wait to hear what all you guys have to say. And I can't wait to hear what Jeff and Ashley talk about. I'm actually going to get to listen to an episode of the podcast completely, fresh, and see what they're talking about. So, yeah, really enjoyed it. Really, really enjoyed it. Great job to Marvel on doing something weird. And I've sort of stayed away from information about this particular piece of content. So I'm excited to go figure out what I don't know. I was so surprised by the trailer, and the actual presentation itself, like, really held up to that feeling. Like, the whole time I was just like, what is going on right now? Am I watching, like, what world am I in? I just didn't feel at all like the MCU. But not in a bad way. Not in a bad way at all. You guys know I love the MCU, but like, introducing new corners of the world is such an important thing for them moving forward, and having new content that feels fresh. So I'm pumped. As I think you can tell, I think this might be my longest instant cast, because I'm like really excited about this. It really like floored me a little bit. So, all right. Well, that's about all I got to say, I guess. Ted was awesome. Jack was awesome. Elsa was awesome. All the hunters were awesome. Man, the set design, I thought that was all I had to say, but the set design was incredible. I mean, it's clearly in a modern world. They've got electricity and everything, but like, the set design felt so old-timey as well. It felt like not only like old school monster movies, moments felt like old school sci-fi, like the way the shots were composed, and the way some of the, like, gates opened and closed. And man, when that metal gate is coming down and he's just murdering all those guys with the cattle prods, it's pretty intense. Oh, and I thought it was really fun that the butler survived and didn't have any repercussions. It was just like, I just came to serve you, madam, mistress. It's great stuff. Weird, great. Can't wait to see more from this corner of the MCU. When are we gonna? Like, I feel like I want more now. Like, I want another episode of this. It's only 50 minutes. It felt like super self-contained. It feels like a finished thing, but it also, like, I just want more. But it's gonna be a while, I feel like. And we may never get anything like this again. We may never get another completely, black and white thing. Like next time we see these characters, I'm assuming they're going to be interacting in a normal formatted sort of MCU property. Well, I can't say enough good about it. I loved it. I loved it. No notes. That's it, guys. Until next time, true believers. Thank you for joining us for the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast, available everywhere you get podcasts, and now a video version streaming live on twitch.tv/strandedpandatv and available at youtube.com/strandedpanda. And if you'd like to learn more about all of our other podcasts, geeky projects, and ways to support the network, visit strandedpanda.com.